What is a creepy, unexplained childhood experience that you had?
When I was about 8 or 9, I was sleeping over at my grandparents' house with my sister, and she had a room, I had a room, and I woke up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I saw something at the foot of my bed, and it looked like a dude that was like maybe 3 feet tall with real long hair and like a burly beard, and like I couldn't tell if it had clothes on or not, but I was like, what the hell is that? And I kind of moved, and it looked at me, and then it like freaking ran down the hall, and I was like, oh my god, that's terrifying. And so I put the covers over my head, and I just like, and the next day my sister was like, Justin, what were you doing looking in my room? And I was like, I wasn't looking in your room. She's like, I saw you in the mirror, you were looking, like peeking your head through the door. And I was like, no, it wasn't me. And I told her what happened, and then she got freaked out. We both told my grandma, and my grandma was like, hey guys, don't worry about that, it's fine, don't worry about it. No explanation.
What is a creepy, unexplained childhood experience that you had?
I was lying in my bed one night when a bright light filled my room. I got up and looked out the window and saw a bright white light coming in. That's all I could see was bright white. And I thought to myself, I need to go to sleep right now. So I got in bed and went to sleep. Very against my nature to do that when there's something weird going on. 20 years later, I told that story to my parents, and they said the same thing happened to them. They were walking down the hallway, a bright white light came in the window. They both looked at it and said, we need to go to sleep now, and they walked upstairs and went to sleep.
What is a creepy, unexplained childhood experience that you had?
When I was a kid, me and my mom got ready together every single morning, and this morning I was running kind of late, and she comes in my room, and she's like, Morgan, come on, let's get going. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry, your cousin Stacy was just talking to me. She's like, oh yeah, what does Stacy look like? And I went through and I perfectly described what this woman looked like how tall she was, what color her hair was, she wore glasses, she was really petite, yada yada yada, and that she had kind of a weird accent. And my mom's like, okay, what did she say to you? And I was like, well, she just told me that it had been a really long time since she had seen you guys and that she really misses you, and she told me to tell you hi and that she's okay. And my mom goes pale as a ghost. She goes and finds an old photo album and shows me a picture, and she's like, who is this? I'm like, that's Stacy. I just saw her. That's so cool. Stacy had died 20 years before I was even born, and I had never seen a picture of her or heard of her ever before.
What is a creepy, unexplained childhood experience that you had?
But the creepiest thing would 100% been the TikTok I did before, where I had a childhood friend, Alex, that didn't exist, who died in a car crash. Very creepy, very dramatic. My mother is scarred for life. The other creepy thing that happened, it wasn't my childhood, it was actually in the last 4 or 5 years. Now, my dad would have been, it's actually his 10-year anniversary next week, so he, obviously he passed away. 3 separate occasions, in 3 separate houses, my childhood home, when I was 17, I got out of the shower, and the mirror was all fogged up, and I had a very clear P written in it, okay? Moved to my apartment with Emily, had a shower whenever, a year later, a P, very clear P drawn into it. And now, in this fucking house, had a shower about just before Christmas. The window, the mirror was fogged up, and I had a P. My dad's name is Paul.
What is a creepy, unexplained childhood experience that you had?
Okay, you know how us Mexicans believe in the lechuzas and the witches wanting to take the babies? Well, this night made me believe because I didn't believe. And, well, my child was crying, and I got him, and as a mom trying to rock him to sleep, and my bed was by a window, and I started hearing a lady humming a lullaby, and it froze me, like I couldn't move. I tried to yell for my grandma, because at the time I was living with my grandma. I kept trying to yell, but nothing would come out. And finally, I was able to snap out of it and able to run to her room and let her know what was going on. And the next day, supposedly the neighbor said there was a big owl, and they say that's what the lechuzas are. It's a witch formed into an owl trying to take the baby. And ever since then, I've been a believer.
What is a creepy, unexplained childhood experience that you had? That is the name of this post that I found on Reddit, where this user by the name PM Me Your Poem wrote a really interesting story that I'll be sharing with you tonight. And before I dive any further tonight, just want to set a quick reminder. Hit this plus sign for more content revolving anything with the paranormal, unsolved cases, and anything strange around that realm, because you've come to the right place. I was laying in bed one night. It was pitch black because we had just moved in, so all you can see is the light creeping underneath the door from the landing. My mom was sleeping in the same room as me, but she was sleeping on the floor. We had just moved in. When all of a sudden the door slowly starts to creep open, and an oldish woman appears around the door looking at me and then goes away. I just thought it was a nightmare and turned around really fast and went underneath the covers hoping that I would wake up. When all of a sudden, something that I'll never forget. My mom whispered to me, "Did you see someone just peering around the door?" Safe to say we didn't sleep that night. What is a creepy, unexplained childhood experience that you had?
Okay, I by far win this one. So when I was a little baby, like still being able to be cradled in your arms, like couldn't talk at all, I had a dream that I've remembered my entire life where I was sitting in my crib, I was laying down, and then all of a sudden my room just went completely red, like as if I had red LED lights on, and then I started hearing like stomping outside, like as if a marching band was like stomping, as well as like marching band music, and then I see a clown come up to my crib and he like peeks over and just like stares at me, doesn't do anything except stare at me. And I've just remembered that my entire life. So then one night when I was like 14, I was talking to my dad and my sister about dreams, and I told them about this dream, and my sister was like, "What the hell? I've had that same exact dream and I've remembered it ever since I was a little baby." The weirder part is that she was born 3 years before me. So you're telling me we had the same exact dream 3 years apart, have remembered it our whole life, and no explanation. I don't know. Tell me.
What is a creepy, unexplained childhood experience that you had?
Okay, so when my sister was 7 years old, she passed away in our backyard swimming pool, and I was 5 at the time. Fast forward to when I was in high school, we had moved out of that house and into a different one. And one night I woke up in the middle of the night and there was someone standing in the corner of my room, and it was my sister. But she didn't look like she did when she passed away. She was the age of what she would have been if she was still alive. And so it was cool because I got to see her and what she looked like if she was still here.
What is a creepy, unexplained childhood experience that you had?
So I'm not sure if this counts, but when I was a kid, I used to think that I could teleport, and I like actually believed I could teleport because I would be at school and I'd close my eyes and I'd be like, I just want to be home, and then I'd be home and the whole day would have passed and it's like 5 o'clock and I was like, wow, I can like teleport into the future. And it wasn't until like middle school that I found out you couldn't actually teleport because kids were like, oh, I can't do that. So I was like, oh my god, I have like a special power that nobody else has, blah 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 blah. Came to find out later I'm just dissociative identity disorder, and all that was happening is I was dissociating. But I thought I could teleport for a good amount of time in my life.
What is a creepy, unexplained childhood experience that you had?
Yeah, so this happened around the time when I was 5, and up until then I'd been living on the island of Puerto Rico with my aunt. Around that time I'd been having a lot of strange dreams where I would just run around a house chasing a little kid. Later on in my dreams I found out this little kid's name is Raymond. So a little after I started having these strange dreams, my aunt, she comes to me and she says, "Are you ready to meet your brother this summer?" Because like at that time I hadn't met my brothers, I hadn't even seen my mom, like I had no memories of her. So I asked my aunt, I'm like, is my little brother's name Raymond? And like her face is like in complete shock. Cause like she's never mentioned him before, you know? So we have a long discussion about how I know his name is Raymond and, you know, how I saw him in my dreams. Later on that summer he comes to visit. He looks exactly like how he did in my dreams. So we start playing, hanging out, and I get curious and I ask him, "Do you ever see me in your dreams?" Alright, so sorry for taking so long. I had no idea this video would get that many views. So here's part 2. I guess I'll start where I left off. So I asked my little brother, I'm like, "Hey, do you ever see me in your dreams?" He said, "I see you all the time and we're always running around, but I don't know why." So I asked him, "How long have you been having these dreams?" And he said, "They've been going on for a while. I don't know how long." Like, at that moment, I just straight up got goosebumps. Afterwards, we just, play, hang out and stuff. Now, fast forward a year later, I come to the United States for the first time, and we all pull up to this new house we're moving into. As I look at the house, I get a strange feeling of deja vu. And as we go inside, I'm just like, is this the house from our dreams? But I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to seem crazy. Little brother looked at me and he was like, is this the house from our dreams? And I was so confused. I was just like, have we been dreaming about this same house the whole entire time? So then we just start running around looking in every room, and yeah,